So let's start OSI model. So OSI model, basically it's a reference model nowadays we use. Okay, it has 7 layers. 7 layers. Application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. Okay, the layer 1 is physical layer, is the layer 1. Data link layer, that is the layer 2. Layer 3 is the network layer. Layer 4 is the transport layer. Layer 5 is session layer. Layer 6 is presentation layer. Layer 7 is application layer. So OSI model is used as a reference model. Okay, what it does basically, OSI model, it helps to break down network function. Okay, so network, what is network? Network is a communication media. Okay, when any information is traveling over the network, okay, it is going from one end to another end. Okay, the function of the network means the request is going from one end to another end. All these functions are divided into or break down into these 7 layers. So network communication means the communication from one end to another end. All the functions are break down into these 7 layers. Okay, yeah. So then second point is create standard for equipment manufacturing. Basically the function which are defined on these 7 layers that helps to create standard for the equipment manufacturing. For example, I am manufacturing switch, so I will be using the specification of data link layer. Okay, so what are all specifications are there in at the data link layer, okay, that I will follow while I will be manufacturing the switch. Okay, so whatever specification mentioned at the network layer, that I will follow while I will be manufacturing router. Okay, so create standard for the equipment manufacturing, so that I am manufacturing router, probably some other person also manufacturing router. So these 2 routers, okay, will be manufactured by the standards which are defined at the network layer. So my router and somebody's router, they can communicate at the same time at the same network. So that is what the standard means. So standard device can communicate together, okay, at the same time at the same network. So OSI model is used as a reference model. The first reason why I will use the OSI model is it helps to break down the network function. So in each layer, the network communications functions are break down, and all the functions are defined on each layers. Create standard for the equipment manufacturing. Those who are manufacturing the equipments, they are following the standard. Okay, and network layer standard, they are following to manufacture the router. While they are manufacturing switch, they will be following the data link layer specification. Okay, so allow vendor to focus on the specialized area of the network. See, network has a different part, we know, LAN part, WAN part. Okay, so data link layer basically define the LAN part. So while manufacturer will develop their product, they will focus on the data link layer to manufacture their switch. Okay, so if any vendor is manufacturing switch, they will focus on the data link layer. Okay, because basically this allows vendor to focus on the specialized area of the network. So the vendor who is manufacturing switch, he or she will focus on the data link layer. Okay, so data link layer basically define our LAN network, that is basically switch network. So I am the manufacturer of switch, so I will focus on the data link layer. Okay, so let me tell you some story. Okay, so there when internet was developed, okay, so developer had two models in hand. Okay, so one is OSI model, another one was TCP IP model, TCP/IP model. So they did some analysis and they have chosen TCP IP model to develop their network. Means TCP IP model to develop our internet. Okay, so internet was developed based on the TCP IP model. Okay, so OSI model is using as a reference model. OSI model basically defines, okay, how the network communication will happen. Okay, it creates the standard for the equipment manufacturing. Okay, it allows vendor to focus on the specialized area of the network. Okay, but actual network development or actual internet development was based on TCP IP model. Okay, so developer had two choices. One is OSI model, another one is TCP IP model. They have chosen TCP IP model. So there were a lot of reasons why they choose TCP IP models. Okay, so I'll talk about that later, why they have chosen TCP IP model to develop our internet. Now we are all connecting to the internet. Okay, so our all device, our computers, our laptops, our network devices like switches, routers, okay, we are all connecting together. Okay, that is based on the TCP IP model. Okay, so network equipments or network developments are based on TCP IP models, TCP IP, right? So TCP IP model is used to develop our network. But what about OSI models? OSI models is used as a reference model and it has all three functions. It helps to break down the network function. It creates standard for equipment manufacturing. Okay, and allows vendor to focus on specialized area of the network. Okay, so OSI model has 7 layers. What is the first layer of the OSI model? The first layer is physical. Second layer is a data link. Third layer is a network. Fourth layer is a transport. Fifth layer is session. Sixth layer is presentation. Seventh layer is applications. So all these 7 layers nowadays used to break down the network functions. So end to end, when the network communications happen, so all the functions are breaking down into the 7 layers. Okay, as well as it helps the engineers to explain the network problem. Means if there is any problem with the switch, we can say there is something wrong at the data link layer. If there is any problem at the router, we can say there is something wrong with the network layer. So this is how we are using the OSI model. But actual development of the network is happening based on the TCP IP model. Okay, so now let me tell you why people chosen TCP IP. Means internet developer chosen TCP IP, not OSI model, because OSI model has a addressing scheme that is very complicated, that is SNAP. So that is very complicated. It is 20 byte long. But on the other hand, TCP IP model has the addressing scheme which is IP. That is very easy. IPv4 is 32-bit long and it is written in hexadecimal format, decimal format. Okay, so IPv4 also called dotted decimal address. Okay, and TCP/IP model use the routing protocol like RIP, EIGRP, OSPF. So these all protocols were developed based on the TCP/IP model. But on the other hand, OSI model has the addressing scheme which is called routing protocol. OSI model has the routing protocol which is called ISIS, integrated system to integrated system. Integrated system means router to router. So that is called ISIS. So that is really complicated one, okay, not very popular one, but it is really excellent routing protocol, and most of the service provider using the ISIS at their core network. Okay, and very few people in the world, they have a very depth knowledge on the ISIS routing protocol. Okay, so they just justified all these things, and they have started using the TCP/IP model. Okay, they compared OSI and TCP/IP. Okay, they found the best one is TCP/IP, and internet was developed based on the TCP/IP model, not OSI model. So OSI model we are using as a reference model, and it has all three functions. It helps to break down the network function. It creates standard for equipment manufacturing, allows vendor to focus on the specialized area of the network. Okay, so at the interview level, interviewer may ask you, so what is the function of this OSI model? So you have to say all 3 points. They may ask you, tell me how many layers are available at the OSI model. You have to say 7 layers. So they may ask you, what is the name of the layer 4? You have to say transport layer. So this type of questions you may get from the CCNA level interview. Okay. So first layer is the physical, second is data link, third is network, fourth is transport, fifth is session, sixth is presentation, seventh is applications. Okay. Got it? Yes. Let me jump into the next slide. So now we'll see OSI model in detail. Now we'll see each layer functions. Application layer. Application layer. Application layer's function is interface with the application and provide network access to the application. Interface with the application and provide network access to the application. What does it mean? Basically, now I am operating this PPT. Okay, so I am the user, and PPT that is the application. Okay, so application layer function is, it is giving the space to the user to operate the application. So while we power on our computer and our computer gets ready, we can see desktop. Okay, we just click on any of the icon at the desktop. Okay, so that is basically the function of the application layer. So application layer basically giving us the space, okay, to access the application. Okay, and provide network access to the application. That means some applications are network based, and also those applications will be accessed through the network. So it is giving the network access to the application so that application can be accessed over the network. Okay, so this is the function of this application layer. Presentation layer, what it does? Presentation layer generifies the data. It generifies the data. That means whatever request comes from the application layer and come down to the presentation layer, that request will be generified. That means it will be basically formatted in the computer known format. For example, you are sending some request on the web browser. okay, it will be generified in the HTML format. Okay, so HTML, actual coding language, okay, that computer knows about. So your request on the website will be generified in the HTML format. Also, it does the encryption. Basically, what is encryption? Encryption means it just encrypt the request. First, it generifies the request, whatever request comes from the application layer, okay, then it encrypts it, so that when the request will be traveling over the network, nobody can decrypt it. Means it will be basically keeping in the hidden format. Your actual request will be keeping in the hidden format, so that nobody while request is traveling over the network, if anybody is capturing the packet, okay, so they cannot see your actual request. So that is called encryption. It will encrypt the data, means it will wrap up the data. Okay, so what we do basically, while we are giving some presentation to somebody, we buy the presentation from the market. Then what we do, we wrap up the presentation very nicely. Then we present to the presenter, means who means the people for that we bought the present. Okay. So the same way the data will be presented over the network. It will be encrypted first, then it will be presented over the network. So encryption function does at the presentation layer. Then session layer, what it does basically? Session layer basically responsible for start and end the session. Start and end the session. Okay, session layer is responsible to start the session and to end the session. That means while you are accessing any Google server, okay, so your computer is starting the session, starting a logical session from your computer to the Google server. So your session layer at your computer will be responsible to start the session. In the session, okay, once you access the Google server, your work is done, then what you will do? You will close the session. While you close the session, session layer will finish up the session, will terminate the session. Okay, and it also keeps the session separate. That means in same browser, you are using probably Google Chrome, or you are using Mozilla. Okay, in your browser you can use the multiple session. You can access Facebook, you can access Google server. Okay, so while you are chatting on the Facebook, you send somebody to hi. That hi you cannot see at the Google page. Can you see that? No, because it is keeping the session separate. So session layer function is it start and end the session, and it keep the session separate. Okay, then transport layer. Transport layer is responsible how data will be sent over the network. Will it be sent reliably or unreliably? If it is reliable, then it will use TCP protocol, TCP, transmission control protocol. If it is unreliable, then it will use UDP protocol, UDP. So these two protocol works at the transport layer. So transport layer use these two protocol to deliver the data over the network. So transport layer responsibility how data will be sent over the network, whether it will be reliable or unreliable. If it is reliable, it will be using TCP protocol. If it is unreliable, it will be using UDP protocol. It also defines well-known services. Well-known services, what is it? It is basically the logical port number. It starts from 0 and ends with 1023. So this range of the port used by the applications means applications use this port number. Okay, application use this port number. Okay, use this port number for the network communication. Means application use this port, okay, so that network devices over the network can identify the application. This port number 02023 is assigned to the well-known applications. For example, you are using a Google server, that is HTTP or HTTPS based application. Okay, so HTTP use the port number 80. Okay, so when your computer is trying to open google.com, your computer will be sending requests to the Google server on port 80. Google server cannot identify, cannot understand that what type of request you are sending by seeing the URL. It can identify the request by using the port number. While you are sending requests from the web browser, okay, I need a HTTP service, means http://www.google.com. It will understand that it will so what it will do, basically it will convert that request and it will put the port number on the request, that is port number 80. So when the request will reach to the Google server on port 80, okay, it will understand that there is a HTTP request somebody has sent and I have to reply for that. Okay, so this port number or this logical port number is used to identify the application. This logical port number is used to identify the application. So applications over the network will be identified by the port number. So that is well-known service. So well-known port number is defined from 0 to 1023. Okay, so these are all port numbers are reserved for the well-known applications. HTTP use port number 80, HTTPS use port number 443, SSH use 22, Telnet use 23, FTP use 20 and 21. Okay, so for the applications, these port number are reserved. So that is why these are all well known. Got it?
Yep.
Okay. Now let's come down to the network layer. Network layer provide logical addressing. IP is a logical address, okay, because we define at the software, so that is why it is logical. MAC address, that is the physical address, it is encoded at the hardware level, okay, by using the hardware programming. So network layer define the logical addressing, okay, so it use the IP address that is the logical address. It also finds base path to the destination. That means I said, what is the definition of the network? Network is a communication media. So that media is required the path to send the data from one end to another end. That path will be created by the routing protocol. So routing protocol will be finding the best path to the destination to send the data. So routing protocol also works at the network layer. IP, that is the function that works at the network layer, and routing protocol also works at the network layer. So routing protocol has function to create the path and to choose the best path to the destination. Best path means, for example, I am going to US. Okay, yeah. So tonight I have a flight. I have couple of flights tonight from Calcutta. So I'll be choosing the best flight to reach the US. Best flight means which will take me the shortest time, means short time. So there is some flight, there is one flight, it will take probably 20 hours to reach the US. There is one more flight which will take 25 hours to reach the US. There is one more flight, it is taking 14 hours to reach the US. So which one I will choose? The best one, that is the 14 hours, correct? So routing protocol is deciding, or routing protocol is finding the best path to the destination. From source to destination, okay, there might be a multiple path to reach the destination. But routing protocol will be choosing the best path, okay. I am sitting in Calcutta, Raja is sitting in UK, okay. So if I am sending some information to the Raja, okay, it will be traveling over the internet, and internet has a multiple path, but internet also running the routing protocol. So routing protocol's responsibility to choose the best path and to provide us the best service. It will choose the best path, and within short period of time, it means short span of time, my information will reach to the Raja. Okay. So routing protocol also works at the network layer, and IP also works at the network layer. Data link layer. Data link layer's responsibility is to define the MAC address. So MAC address works at the data link layer. MAC, which is the physical address, we know already. Okay. Yes. So MAC is a 48-bit address. Okay. It is divided into two parts. The first 24-bit assigned by OUI, organizationally unique identifier, and next 24-bit assigned by the NIC or vendor. Okay. So provide physical access, addressing, physical addressing, that means MAC. MAC is a physical address that is defined at the data link layer. So data link layer's responsibility to provide the physical address, as well as it ensured the data is error free. It also ensured my data is error free. So while my data will be traveling over the network, there might be some chances that my data get corrupt or my data get some error. Okay. So data link layer basically checks the error and ensure that my data is error free. Okay. Physical layer defines the cable, okay, the physical stuff like network interface card, okay. So all the physical stuff defined here at the physical layer, okay. So network cable, we are connecting to the NIC card at the computer or laptop, okay. So that defines the physical layer. Also physical layer defines electrical signal. The thing is, when computer is sending some request and while it is traveling over the network, so when it reach to the cable, basically cable basically carry the electrical signal. Copper cable carries the electrical signal, and it also converts 0 and 1s, that means binary. Okay. The request first converted into binary, then it will be converted into electrical signal to travel over the network. So physical layer's function is provide access to the cable, okay. It just define all the physical stuffs, okay, and it also defines the electrical signal, because over the cable electrical signal will be traveling from one end to another end, and while data is ready and To travel over the network, basically it is converted into binary, then binary value will be converted into the electrical signal to travel over the network. Okay. So these 7 layer features, okay, the 7 layer features are: first is application layer, which defines interface with the application. Basically it give user the space to access the applications, and it provides network access to the application. That means some applications are network based. It is giving network access to the application so that application can be accessed over the network. Okay. Then second, presentation layer. Presentation layer basically generify the data. Okay. It will be converted to the computer known language, and it also does the encryption so that my data can be sent over the network securely. Okay. Session layer's responsibility start and end the session. It will start the session and it will end the session. Logically keep the session separate. What I said in the same browser, I am using google.com, I am using facebook.com. If I am sending some message on the Facebook site, that message will not be shown at the Google page because these two sessions are separate. Session layer's responsibility to keep the session logically separate. Transport layer's responsibility is how data will be delivered over the network, whether it will be delivered reliably or unreliably. If it is reliable, then it will be using TCP protocol, transmission control protocol. If it is unreliable, then it will be using UDP, user datagram protocol. It also defines the well-known port number. Well-known port number, the port numbers start from 0 to 1023. These are all reserved for the applications. This port number is used to identify the application on the network. In the network, whatever devices we are using, including computer, laptop, printer, okay, so they will be identifying the application using the port number. Okay, so on my desktop, if I open some application, so we will be identifying the application by seeing the application's icon. But network devices, router, switches, computer, okay, these type of devices cannot identify the application using their icon. They will be identifying the application based on the port number. Okay. So network layer. Okay. So network layer, just a second. Let me erase some. Network layer provide the logical addressing. Logical addressing. What is the logical address? Logical address is IP. Okay, so it defines the IP address. Okay, and find the best path to the destination. That means this is the function of routing protocol. So routing protocol also defined at the network layer. Routing protocol REAP, EIGRP, OSPF, we'll see later. Okay, at the routing protocol section. Okay, so routing protocol works at the network layer. Routed protocol, the IP is called routed protocol, so that also works at the network layer. So network layer defines the logical addressing and also routing protocol. Data link layer provide the physical addressing, that is MAC. MAC is a physical address. It is encoded at the hardware. It also defines my data is error free. Okay, Physical layer defines all the physical stuffs, okay, provide access to the cable, okay. So we are connecting cable to the NIC card of the computer, okay, to send the data over the network. So all these physical stuffs defined at the physical layer. When the request will leaving the computer and will be traveling over the network, first it converted into binary, that is 0 and 1s, that also defined at the physical layer. Then it will be converting to the electrical signal to transport over the cable, copper cable. So copper cable carry the electrical signal, okay. So Pawan is sitting at Bangalore, okay. So Pawan is sending some email to me. So first what it will do, first what he will do, he will write down the email, okay. That is the function of application layer. So application layer is giving Pawan the space to write down the email. Then it will click on the send, it will go to the presentation layer. So it will be generified at the POP3 format or emailing format, okay. Then it will come to the session layer. Session layer will say, okay, I am ready to open the session, okay. Basically it is going to the Bipul's computer. So it is going to the Bipul. So it will be ready to open the session. Then transport layer, its responsibility to send the email from Pawan's computer to my computer. So emailing service use the TCP protocol, POP3, SMTP, these are all TCP based application. So it will be sent reliably. Then network layer will be providing the address to identify the my computer, okay, and a routing protocol will be deciding the best path to send that request or to send that email. Data link layer, it will be providing the MAC address, that is also required for the communication. I will explain later why we need two addresses for the communication. IP address, that is also an address. MAC address, that is also an address. Why we need two addresses? Okay. So then the physical layer's responsibility, it will first convert the request or email to the 0 and 1, that means binary. Then binary value will be converted into the electrical signal and it will be sent over the cable. Got it?
Yeah.
Excellent.